Last week, I talked about taking responsibility for ourselves, needing to grow up and realizing that it's our job to take care of ourselves on all levels, to deeply, deeply, deeply take care of ourselves, to be there for ourselves when fear arises, when we have doubt, when we feel lost and confused. What I teach about how we do this for ourselves is to see a lot of our inner experience is mostly kicked up old stuff from the past. It's our job to be there, to come inside and meet it, see it, love it, accept it, see it as energy which is trying to release from our system, and assist it lovingly, gently, supportively to leave our system. So this last couple of weeks, the tailwinds have picked me up and are really pushing me forward way more quickly than I am fucking ready for, happy about. Thank you very much. About every other day, I'm at home, I do my stuff in the morning, and I get all my clothes on, and I'm getting ready to walk out the door to come over here, and I have to stop and clear energy. Because as my life is expanding, as things are changing, moving forward, then we bump up against the parts of ourselves that are stuck in smallness and woundedness and being afraid of being pulled in, of wanting to hide, being afraid of whatever. And I think the fundamental misconception about what it means to be a human being and live in a body is that we don't think in this way. And we think that the entirety of our internal experience is actually relevant to what's in front of us right now. And I'm suggesting that in many cases, it's only a small percentage of what we're experiencing, particularly with difficulties that have to do with the thing that's right in front of us. So then it's our job, I would posit, to be responsible to and for ourselves in those moments when, these fragile human beings that we are, and human experiences, it's quite a vulnerable, fragile thing in many ways. It can be quite powerful and quite strong. It's just the amazingness of being a human is that it's such a huge spectrum of what's possible as a human being in this life. And so when these scared, wounded parts show up, what we often do instead of loving them and again, treat them as energy, see them as coming up to be cleared and allow the energy to leave. What happens is that a lot of people have a hard time because we're not comfortable being with our discomfort. We haven't learned how to be with our discomfort, our pain. And this to me is what feeds this whole narcissism mechanism that I'm trying to talk about, trying to understand. So much of what we have as problems personally in our lives, and then we have collectively, I would posit its root, most of it, is human beings unwilling to be with their own pain, discomfort. I think a lot, right? A lot. And it's been my experience, and I see it with the people I work with. It's the most beautiful thing to see people who take responsibility for these wounded parts of themselves and really begin to learn how to show up. And it's a skill that can be built. It's that simple. There's nothing whatsoever complicated or complex about this. It's the most natural thing one can do. I see that you're hurting. Come here. Let me hold you. Let me be with you. Let me notice you. Most of us, it's built into us. If we see a little child having this happen. You couldn't stop yourself from going and having it. But when it happens inside, it's painful. And we've been conditioned to run from that inner selves. And when I say that, what I mean is a couple of things. One is that there's something in how we function as human beings that when we were children to keep us going in life. Our mind, body would take the overwhelm, the terror, the fear, whatever it was, and make it go away. There's mechanisms built into us out of our awareness, and it's what got us through difficult times as a child. So now we're having to fight against that. We're having to fight against the fact that nobody ever told us, in the way that I'm suggesting to look at it, that this is old energy. It's old stuff stored back here that feels like, or feels like, or feels like, And it's calling our attention to say, will you please just look at me? Will you please just stop for a second and look at me? Not push me away, not call me bad or wrong. And just accept me. Just be here, love me, accept me, and help me to return back to the pool of energy so that I can be used for better things. Narcissists, so I use that term very broadly. I'm not speaking just about people that would be diagnosed clinically. I would say that each of us, we kind of live somewhere generally on a range of a spectrum of behavior. I could say that there are likely certain parts of my behavior that are maybe more in the narcissistic end of things, less able to see or care about the other. And then there are other parts of it where I am aware of and I'm willing to take responsibility for the effects I'm having on another. And this is my segue to talk about it. The narcissism mechanism and the narcissist, codependent, that whole realm. I think it's probably just safe to think we're all kind of this mix of things. But somebody's mix of things might be kind of over here. Somebody's mix of things is more over here. So just to clarify what I'm talking about, because it's not that they're that and you're this, but most of us here have likely been in these kind of situations with people that have caused us a lot of difficulty. It's the fundamental difference, as I see it, is that a narcissistic relationship to one's experience is one in which one is continuing to deny the difficulty in oneself by projecting it out to the other, not being willing to feel one's own pain, and therefore, whenever I feel uncomfortable, it's your fault. Whatever it is, that person, that situation. It's not here. The seed of my own discomfort isn't here, it's out there. Whereas people that are in the codependent realm, they're more aware of themselves having pain and it playing itself out in their interactions with other people, and therefore willing to take responsibility for that. They often also buy the message that comes from the other side of this equation. The other side is saying, it's your fault, and the codependent is saying, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So neither one of these people is taking responsibility for themselves. And for me, my way out of these dynamics has been learning how to get really fucking expert at taking care of myself. I feel like I'm still learning the depth and the breadth of what it means to deeply love oneself. Because as I've done this work, I've realized, oh my God, I really don't know exactly what all there is to me. I know this name, this body here in this lifetime somewhat. And I've come to know him more and more as I've been less and less shut down. But that's just the beginning of things. When you start going into this world where you leave open the possibility that who you are is not merely this hunk of flesh being animated and moving through this world at this time. And then what does it mean to love that and be responsible for that? The multidimensionality of our beingness. What does it actually mean to be responsible to and for all of that? So if you in any way can buy the idea that we are God incarnate, we are the Christ essence, the Christ energy here living, or potentially so, living here on the planet through this body as part of what each of us is doing right now. Try that one on. And as I see it, who I am is the one who's aware of all this. That's who I am. I'm aware that there's a part of me in this body who's now talking to you. But that's not the entirety of who I am at all. And that me, as I see it, has needed to learn/remember that it's my job to take care of this, to love this, because parts of being here suck. To be blunt, I don't like feeling like shit, do you? But it seems to be part of being here, right? And the thing is, for me, it's been learning to be there for that when it shows up that has been my road to freedom, period. So to me, it feels like the way out, in essence, is to learn to do the most simply, uncomplicated, natural, couldn't be easier, wouldn't have a second thought about doing it if you saw this for another human being in your midst response, which is pain. I gotcha. I gotcha. See, as I do this, I'm having to fight back tears because it's just the most, it so moves me. Because it feels to me like this, in essence, is us reclaiming the humanity that lives in us with ourselves. I'm going to learn what it means to be a full-hearted human being with myself first. And you see, to really play this out and take this and really start practicing it, it begins to remove bit by bit the victimization that is almost like it's been shot up in our veins by all of this stuff that we're carrying around back here. It's only just in recent times that it's become more obvious. I don't think this is a new thing necessarily, but it's almost like everybody defending their right to be victimized by another group. Victimization, I would say, to give a definition, the way I'm using it is not being the source of my own experience of life. Not being the source of my own experience of life. So I don't like that when that happens, but my experience of it, I get to choose. How I respond when this stuff I've been carrying around a lifetime shows up in my experience. Do I take responsibility or do I blame it on something else in life? Doing this to ourselves, in essence, is beginning to remove all of the tethers of victimization. And if you were here last week, I proposed that what I call this narcissism mechanism, where you have the dynamic between more than one person, organization, etc., is enmeshed in victimization. So, I mean, people are on the other end of really crappy behavior by another person or an organization. I'm not saying that's not true. What I'm talking about is how each of us, like, I don't give a fuck about anybody else. My job's me. Me. How do I relate to my own experience? And what I started to say was that, people make it a point to be offended by somebody else who they don't even know getting victimized. It's like, this is fucking crazy as far as I'm concerned. It really is crazy. People who won't take 5 minutes to be there for themselves when this shows up in them, won't take 5 minutes to be there for this victimized part of themselves, to be there in a non-victimized way, in an adult, parental, loving kind of way to this victimized part of themselves. They won't take 5 minutes to do that. But they'll jump up and down for somebody they don't even fucking know. That's weird, right? It's weird. So the narcissism mechanism, I would say, I feel like this is a phenomenon that's happening in us, between us, and in society at large, culture at large, the world at large. And I feel like that spirit is trying to help me to see this. Everything I'm sharing with you, it's all born, out of what's coming to me, and also what I've learned as I've gone through this process myself, and I take other people through this process of healing themselves. I'm seeing these things and realizing, wow, there's something really going on here on this planet that seems to be built to keep people impotent. So this culture of victimization from the perspective in which I really try to live is only a small part of who I truly am, which I don't really know what that is. I get glimpses into different pieces of it. I've had direct experiences of realizing I am everything, I am nothing. Mystical experiences. I've had these experiences. You probably have too when you're in some way or another like, wow, there's a lot more going on inside of me and inside this universe than I had any idea about, in a good way. So if that is truly who I am, whatever that is, me here in this little body, having this tiny little experience, which can be really challenging, but it's that I can't be with myself, take care of myself, realize that what I experience in life, it's on me to figure out how to manage myself in response to it. Because so much of what's going on around us, I don't know how to say this, is not real. It's not real because it's not who we are. It's not who I am. It's this small little victimized person that's afraid of this and afraid of that and feels like they're stuck. They can't do this. No, it's fucking bullshit. But if you try to figure that out here in the world, which a lot of people are doing now. I mean, all this conspiracy theory kind of stuff, I just leave room that any or all of it or parts of it or some of it or none of it could be true. Who the hell am I to know? But obviously people are picking up on stuff. There's stuff going on. Things are happening. Yes, 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 yes. Isn't that clear? Isn't that true? Isn't that clear on some level? On some level, it's like, hold on a second. What the fuck is going on? And to try to then figure that out by looking out there into the world, which is also what a lot of conspiracy theory types that are stirring the pot, God bless them, doing whatever they're doing, it also perpetuates victimization. We're living at the hands of these others. The thing is, I think that there's a tremendous amount of truth to that. But then how I live in that, whether it's the fucking person I slept next to for 10 years or this society or this culture, how I relate to it is everything. It's everything. And what I'm suggesting, as stupid as it sounds, is the way out. It's not entirely this, but if you try to find a way out without doing this, you're toast. Why? Because everything that wants to keep you victimized out in the world, whether it has the intention to do so or not, grabs these little fuckers that we love when they show up, because that's what they need to heal. But when it's back here, they're the bane of our existence. The stuff we carry around with us. And I've seen for myself that most of this is past life stuff. It's stuff that wasn't mine. It's ancestral. It's been in the DNA and that came in with this physical form. It's experiences that parts of me had in the past. But this isn't just like going back and having hypnosis and seeing it. This is like, holy fuck. Having my whole body light up with kinds of pain and loss that I couldn't make up. What is that? And I say that this is the work that we use to save ourselves from ourselves, because we've internalized this also. We can be the worst kind of prosecutors for ourselves. I call it the inner critic. This inner part of us that's internalized all of this stuff and gives us a hard time constantly. So it's living at all of these levels, these circles, these cycles of victimization. I hope this is making some sense. So somebody asked me, and it was kind of the impetus for doing this, is because we've all have had people in our lives that, if we've looked at it this way, we realize are narcissists. And the question was, well, given how much is changing on the planet now and all these energies coming in, et cetera, is it possible for the narcissist to really heal? Because holy heck, we are being changed. The rest of our lives, and probably the next couple lives, are going to be just hold on to your hats. We're going to go through so much change, like way beyond any idea what we could think of could mean change. There's a new humanity being born now, and it's going to be born in, through, and as us, I suggest. I mean, this is not new news, what I'm saying, for those that have read all kinds of stuff. But she was asking, is it possible for the narcissist to really heal. Because the idea in narcissist treatment circles in more mainstream kind of ways, and even the non-mainstream, is that narcissists don't heal, they don't free themselves. Why is that? Because they are unwilling, unfucking willing, thank you very much. Even when people who they love, who they've spent many, many years with, say, hey, there's some stuff back here. And then no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. So because of this inside of them of literally unwillingness, which is, conscious, unconscious, I don't really know. But it's unwillingness to see. And she said with the new energies coming in, is that possible? And of course, yes, it's possible. Is it likely? No. No. Thank God of the gift of dying and being born again and having this time in between to kind of sort ourselves out if we choose to. I don't think there's any guarantee that we sort ourselves out between lives either, to be honest. You just drop the body, you're still there. So I don't know is the answer to that question, obviously, because I don't know. But what I do see happening, what other people have talked about that I've followed, is that as we move through these times we're moving through, is that we're likely to get more polarized in every respect. Because just like this last year has been, life is trying its damnedest to get each of us individually to see what's happening, what's going on, what's really going on in here, what's really going on around here. It's like, here, put some new glasses on, take a look around, see what's happening. Life is trying to show us. And the thing is that many people in this last year have been starting to realize, hey, there's some things I need to deal with in here. There's things I need to deal with around in my life. So great, people are starting to wake up, not be on autopilot and just have the system in here tell them, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. As this happens, then as more energy comes in that's trying to get us to see, those that do not want to see are going to fucking really get, no. Little 2-year-old become more and more. So this is one way to see that the world that we're currently living in get more and more so. It's going to get crazy in the world. Look around. Look around. It's going to get more so. And as I see it, one's job, should one accept it, is stay the fuck out of it. What do you do when you realize you're with a narcissist? You leave. You don't participate. No contact, not being involved. And if you're going to say in response, but I can't do that because, that's victimization. You see, that's what I mean. It's so deep in us, these things. No, you can. You can do it. There's fear. You don't know how. You're not sure you're going to be okay, but you can. And this is the work I do with people, is help people to learn how to be with themselves, how to walk themselves through shedding all of this limitation. Well, all is a big statement. A lot of limitation, at least. And this is what there is to do while we're here on planet Earth, I would say. And it takes the form of showing up and doing your job and raising your kids and this, yes, these things have to be done, yeah. But why? What's the bigger picture for why? In the way I'm speaking about today, what I would say is the bigger why is to find a way of relating to myself and my experience, which is responsible, response able, and not victimized. And the magic bullet of the work I do with people is them showing up for themselves and me supporting them when we get together and do sessions to relieve themselves of this. That is the silver bullet, the magic bullet. Swear to God. Dead simple, couldn't be easier. Good thing, right?